Hi, everybody. I'm Terry Windsor, and welcome to Info to Know. In the past few months, we've had an increase in energy in part of the Cascadia Subduction Zone. So follow me, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here I am in the Vancouver, Northern Washington part of the Cascadia Subduction Zone, and I'm on the Volcanoes and Earthquakes website. I like using this for this application because it has several sources reporting in one place to give me a broader picture of the earthquake activity occurring in this area. But nobody reports all of the earthquakes. As a matter of fact, many are picked up by Raspberry Shake only, including this 4.5 that occurred earlier today, right in here somewhere, only reported by Raspberry Shake. Now, let me point out a couple things real quickly. First of all, you see these solid circles here? No, they're not. These are actually so many earthquakes in these circles that they look solid. Now, up here we have southeastern Alaska, where the Edgecombe volcano sits. Here we have the Haida Islands, oh, I'm probably not saying that right, formerly known as the Queen Charlotte Islands, and may be for the rest of this video. Here we have Vancouver Island, and then here we have northwestern Washington, where the San Juan Islands reside. Up here is Alberta, and I do believe that Alberta sees a lot of their earthquakes because 80% of their oil comes from Alberta, which means lots of fracking. Don't have to put two and two together there. Now, for this report, I did not use the earthquakes in interior Canada nor southeastern Alaska because they're not part of the Cascadia Subduction Zone. Actually, the earthquakes, though, that do occur in southeastern Alaska, they do put pressure on the plates, though. Now, the Haida Islands, they're not part of the Cascadia, but some people think they should be because the earthquake activity in these islands put direct pressure on the Cascadia Subduction Zone. So this is part of this report. Now, a few months ago, it seemed that the lower magnitudes of 2 and below were becoming less frequent and that the 3s and the 4s seemed to be increasing. But it wasn't a sudden change, it was a progressive change over a period of time. And until I did the math, though, I wasn't quite sure. Now I am, and I can show you what I found. So in November, we had 134 of the 2 and belows, where there were 12 magnitude 3s and 2 magnitude 4s. So 8% of the earthquakes in November were magnitude 3s. When we go to December, we had 125 of the 2 and below, 17 magnitude 3s and 2 magnitude 4s, and a magnitude 5. And you can see that these 2 and below dropped, but the magnitude 3s and 4s increased. So that in December, 12% were of magnitude 3s, 12% of the total earthquakes of that month. In January, we had 105 2 and below, 22 magnitude 3s, and a magnitude 4. So we dropped again on the 2 and belows again. And 17% of the earthquakes in January were magnitude 3s. Now, when we go to February, it gets really very interesting here, I think. We had 96 2 and belows, which is a big drop as well, 36 magnitude 3s and 3 magnitude 4s. And 27% of the month of February's earthquakes in this area were magnitude 3s. So we jumped from 17% to 27% of totals. Now, when we get to March, in March, we had only 76 of the 2 and below, but 54 magnitude 3s and 6 magnitude 4s. 40% of the earthquakes in March were magnitude 3s. That gives us a total of increase from 8% in November of magnitude 3s to the 40% in March of magnitude 3s. It's an increase of 400% in magnitude 3s from November to March. Now, the magnitude 4s tripled from November to March with an increase of 200%. So we do have an increase in energy in this area over the past few months. Whether this trend continues remains to be seen. But then I wanted to know if there had been an increase in overall earthquake activity in the entire Cascadia Subduction Zone over the past 3 years, minus the percentages, because that would take me a very long time. And I wanted to go from March to March because we just finished March. And I used the USGS map because it has the whole Cascadia Subduction Zone. So here we are at the USGS map, and we are at March of 2020 to March of 2021. And you can see that we have 2,211 reported earthquakes by the USGS. I say reported because there's many that go unreported, but this is our best picture. Now we go to March of 2021 to 2022, we have 2,705 earthquakes, which is about a 500 earthquake increase. And that's including these two events that we had in December of 2021, where we had the Blanco fracture zone here popping off like the 4th of July. And then we had the 6.2 and the 5.8 later in December, and all of those earthquakes here. Now, when we go to the last 12 months, March of 2022 to March of 2023, we have 3,570 earthquakes. That's almost 1,000 more earthquakes than the previous year. So there's definitely an increase in the amount of earthquakes, too. I don't know what all this means when we put this together with the Vancouver Island thing, and then we got that buoy that keeps going off. Anyways, I just think we better be prepared because something is definitely going on with all this activity here. That's about it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Terry Windsor signing off.